I was wrong, y'all. I believe that I have changed my mind. And this is something that is going to be controversial. And I know people are going to be like, what the hell do you mean? But I'm going to say it anyway. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I was wrong, y'all. I'm going about this the entirely wrong way. So let's talk about it. Grab you something to drink, lock in, let's go for a ride. In my last video, that was the day after I had a very terrible market. I felt like I was going to perform way better than I did, and it ended up being a bomb. So I made that video, posted it, did not think anybody was going to look at it. A lot of people had opinions. Thank you very much for commenting on that. I really appreciate the conversation and all of the feedback. After that video, had some time to reflect, had some time to read some of the comments and think about what I truly want to do with my craft fair future. The reason that I say that I was wrong is based off of the craft show that I had yesterday. It was in a gymnasium of a school. It was very well organized. It had been blasted on social media quite a bit. Thankfully, the setup was the night before. So that makes such a big difference. It was 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and wasn't that far of a travel for me, which is also a plus. At the beginning of the show, I really was feeling down and I was feeling floppy. I was feeling like I was in my floppish era or whatever the people say. I believe that I have changed my mind based off of a couple of things that happened. And also, there's a lot of things that I'm going to be considering and being way more picky about in the future if I do events. The connections that you make are extremely valuable, and just know that you can find those people. It's a different type of thing than online. It just is. So connection in a different kind of way. It was towards the end of the show, so things were slowing down. I was sitting there and I was working on sewing yo-yos in my downtime. There was a lady that was across from me that she's a quilter. Like, she was selling quilts. We had connected from the get-go. Like, we had talked all day and she had come back and forth. Later in the day, she came over and she was like, hey, do you know about this market that's next weekend? I was like, no, this is my last show. I'm not doing anything else this year because I'm done. She was like, oh, okay, yeah. Somebody said that there were some openings and they were trying to find people, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool, but I'm not doing any more shows. All right, so I continued to sew. Like, I don't know, like 3 seconds later, this lady, the quilt lady, and then some other random person that just appeared out of nowhere came, and they came into my booth and like startled me a little bit because I was in the zone. And I was like, so the other lady was like, hey, basically, like, you got good stuff. Do you want to do this show next weekend? And I was like, huh? I really didn't know what to say. It was very like, huh? So she basically recruited me for this show. Spoiler alert, I'm doing another show that I did not intend to do, but it is indoors. It's a very, very similar situation to what I did yesterday. That would be a connection that I never would have made if I was just online only. And it's just wild how up and down these things can be. You just don't know what's gonna happen. It's so unpredictable. If you're not ready for the unpredictability, then just don't even get into it because it's just wild. Again, I'm thankful that people see my stuff. They believe in me at the times when I don't feel like I'm good enough. In whatever path that I do decide to go in, whether it is online only or just like events around the holidays, the experiences of connection like that really just help validate to keep going, don't stop, because I could have had that really bad show and I've been like, why am I doing this? Nobody gives a damn about it. That was nice validation, I will say. Never had that happen at a show. Never had somebody come and be like, hey, you want to do this show? Oh, okay. Another thing that I think is kind of neat, I haven't really had it happen that often, but I've had it happen a couple of times and I was like, okay, this can't just be a fluke. I had somebody come to my booth yesterday and she was a repeat customer. So she came with her son, the bad show from 2 weeks ago. She came with her son, talked to me for a while. We were talking about nerding out about quilting stuff. She came back with her husband this time, and she was talking and blah, blah, blah. And she was said, hey, I saw that you were going to be at this show. I'm really glad that you came. I want to give you some fabric. She was like, I know that if I give you this fabric that it's going to be put to good use and not just get thrown away. But I thought of you whenever we were going through the fabric. I was like, you thought of me? You thought of little old me, a rando at a craft event. You thought of me enough to bring me this bundle of fabric. She was like, I know it's not much, but I know that you'll do good stuff with it. And that really was like, what? So I was almost crying in my booth again, but it's because of a good reason this time. I asked her, I was like, I don't know if you do hugs, but can I give you a hug or a fist bump or something? And so I went around the table and gave her a hug, and I was like, I appreciate you coming back to see me. Like, I can't believe that you would think of just me. I was over the moon that she brought it knowing that I would be there. Like, that was just mind blowing. It all goes back to connection. That's why. Jeez, I didn't really just thought about it like that. Oh, so Quilt Lady, she gave me a vintage quilt, like an entire quilt. And like we had talked at the beginning of the show, we had talked about trading. I'm always down for some bartering. I'm assuming the things that she wanted to trade with me, my neighbor bought. They were not on my rack at the end of the day. And I know she saw that transaction happen. So what we ended up figuring out was she was like, hey, I'll give you this quilt if you make me a sweater with one of the patterns on it. Come again. Let me show you the quilt. This is the quilt that she gave me. She gave me this entire quilt. It's so well loved. And she said, yeah, all I want is a sweatshirt with one of these and with this on the front. And then you can have the rest of it to do what you want. What? Again, that would be something that would never happen if I didn't do these in-person events. It's crazy. It's crazy. Okay, so now since I've had all of these things happen to me at this last event that were so different from the prior event, these are the things that I'm going to be looking out for, that I'm going to be way, way more picky about moving forward. I do not see myself doing an outdoor event of any kind anymore. Maybe if it's a covered space, but wind can still happen in a covered space. So I am pretty much going to do a hard stop on outdoor events. Yeah, this southeast weather, too much going on. So I'm pretty much going to just be like, no, I don't think so. Number 2, I'm really leaning towards just kind of being a holiday vendor. Q4 has always been and always will be the time for buying gifts, even in a rough economy, that the way that things are going on right now. Time of the year, I believe, is going to be something that I'm going to keep in mind if I'm going to do any events next year. Another thing that I am going to be considering and keeping in mind, and this is something that is going to be controversial. I know I'm going to get some comments about it, and I know people are going to be like, what the hell do you mean? I'm already ready for it. But I'm going to say it anyway because it needs to be said, because it's something very specific that I have to look out for. Something I have to be considerate about is the color of my skin. You may say otherwise, and you may believe that it's not a factor, but I 1000% believe that it's a factor of people coming into my booth. The reason why I feel like that it's a factor is because the past 2 shows, I have done my booth alone. There have been plenty of other times where I've done shows and I've been with my husband. Newsflash, my husband is white. We have been married almost 20 years, and there have been events where he's done them with me. I believe that having him behind my booth makes some people more comfortable to approach me. It is not because I'm aggressive in any way. That is just the simple fact of the world that we live in. I can understand if you do not agree, but unless you've lived it, it's hard to understand. Still, to this day, there are people that look at us weird, like they've never seen two races will walk together. It is absolutely a thing that happens, and it is absolutely something that I have to think about when I do these in-person markets. I really feel like that it's going to affect the foot traffic depending on what event I do, simply based off of my race. You can come for me in the comments if you want to and give me your thoughts on that, but I will stand on that hill. Why don't you just move? Why don't you go to somewhere where it wouldn't have to be in If I could, I can guarantee you I would not be here. If I could just get up and move somewhere else that is not here, I 100% would be there. But it is not that easy. Another thing that I do want to also consider when it comes to doing craft events is finding the right vibe, finding the vibe check, finding events that fit what you do. So like if you do like festival wear, finding music festival events that would match the same energy and match the same vibe of what you do. That is another thing that I'm definitely going to be changing in the future. I'm going to go less about doing a bunch of small stuff, and I'm going to be really kind of going whole hog into the upcycling journey with like dusters and the hoodies that I do, and doing more apparel type items versus doing accessory type items. I'm very thankful for all of the feedback, all of the information, all of the comments, and all of the discussion that came with my last video. As far as with this video, let me know your further comments about this topic. Like, is there a pivotal thing that changed your thoughts on doing in-person events or things like that? I would love to hear what you have to say down below. If you got this far in the video, again, I appreciate you watching. Yeah, thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in my next video.